Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome back to Symphogear AXZ episode 5, if I'm not mistaken. And it seems I am not. It is indeed episode 5. We are slowly but surely approaching the midpoint of the season, or I guess a quarter point of this two-core group of axes and whatever comes next, if my understanding of it is correct, of course. Right. In the previous episode, in episode 4, what did happen exactly? Quite a lot of significant things. It was probably the first dip in I guess, in the vibe, maybe in the power scale, in the feeling of power, the same way we had in the previous season when everybody's Symphogears were destroyed. Because this time around, everybody's Ignite modules were extinguished by the power of the Alchagear. They're called, I think, Forced Robes, but I'm not gonna call them that. They are Alchagear. They are alchemically created Symphogears. In my eyes, at least. It's probably an incorrect term, but that's the term I'm gonna use, so deal with it. Alchagears managed to extinguish the Ignites, and that's a bad thing, because Symphogear users aren't exactly up to par to fight the Alchagear users without Ignite, so they are way weakened. Add to that the fact that we still don't have linker for Maria, Shirabe, and Kirika, so their power output, like the sum of their power output is even lower. And add to that the fact that Adam has arrived, the founder of Bavarian Illuminati, the alchemist that creates gold from matter, just in general, the nudist beach character. That's plenty powerful and has very little regard even for his own allies, it would seem. So that's interesting. I still believe that Adam might be the villain that will kind of unite our antagonists and our protagonists in a common goal, right? S.O.N.G wants to help people, wants to get rid of the noise, wants to just save the world. The alchemist trio, they also want to save the world from the curse of Balal. They want to give people their language back. They want to clean up the history, or give people their history back. By that, what I think they mean, give them agency over their own history, instead of the custodians or the deities or whoever else steering humanity in whichever direction they please. So their goal seems to be common. Meanwhile, Adam's goal seems to be gold. At least as far as we can see that. His goals seem to be fairly self-centered. We don't know too much about them, but he does seem to be the kind of character who wants gold and power, and that's about it. So, neither of the alchemist trio strikes me as someone who would be so self-centered and so self-serving. They all seem, in one way or another, selfless. Now, true, their ways of helping humanity involve killing a couple of humans here and there, but that's the price they're willing to pay. They're willing to bear the sin of being murderers if that means getting rid of the curse of Balal, getting humanity from under the rule of the custodians. Now, that's purely still just my assumption, but the custodians have to become relevant sooner or later, and this season, when there's already been a mention of this is a good area to fight a god, really makes me believe that we might be dealing with the custodians in a bit more involved way than just mentioning them in a passing. So that's gonna be interesting. For sure. What else? We got a little bit of a sad backstory on Saint-Germain, if I'm not mistaken. How she was a daughter of an alchemist, and her mother died, and then she, I don't know, took up alchemy so that nobody else has to die ever, or something along those lines. Probably we don't know her full motivations. We don't know anybody's full motivations. What I do know, or at least what I can assume, what I can infer kind of from one particular scene, is that Saint Germain is not entirely averse to working with S.O.N.G. So that's a venue that might be explored. But right now, all of our RGB trio lies there helpless without ignite modules. The no, the RGB trio. Meanwhile, the what was the other name? Neapolitan. Yeah, the Neapolitan group is just laying there helpless because they don't have the linker. They can use their gears, but they just won't withstand it. Then again, we did see some weird glow around Maria, and she did consume the magic tomato. I still don't know if there's something to the tomatoes, if there's something to that granma, but it's too much of a coincidence, isn't it? Or maybe it is a coincidence. Maybe she just awakens the power that's welling within her, or something else. She's, I don't know, breaking through her limits, going Super Saiyan 5 and rescuing Tsubasa, because Maria is a badass like that. Who knows? I'm assuming we will learn more about it in this episode, and of course, in future episodes as well. But before the future episodes, episode 5 is what we are watching right now, so let's focus on that. There we go. Subs, as always, you're gonna need them to follow along. Sound, as always, I'm gonna need it to follow along. I need to go a little lower so that I'm better framed. I can't wait for my Elgato to arrive so that I can just set it up once and never have to wonder about framing. But yeah, right now I'm dealing with my phone as usual, so it is what it is. Subs, sound, support the channel. If you want Patreon Throne, links in the description below. And if you don't want to spend any money, share my content, spread the word. It does help the channel a lot. And with that out of the way, we can start watching Symphogear AXZ episode 5 in 3, 2, 1, go. Who's that? Oh, Chris. Everybody's alive, so that's good. It would seem so, yes. That's a good question, actually. Okay, still alive. And still henshined. I expected the damage they took to dehenshin them. Help or enemies? Okay, they are alive, so that's that at least. I wonder if they lost their ignite modules permanently, or is it just some form of jamming or forceful dehenshining? Because if it's permanent, then we had like what, a season and a couple episodes of the henshin mechanic, and now we're just getting rid of it. I don't know. Would maybe explain why they didn't bother creating new henshins for the ignite forms, because it was just that once or two times, or however many times they used it so far, and it's just not gonna be used anymore. So they didn't bother making special henshins for that. I wonder. I wonder if maybe they're gonna get those weird veiny hearts, or the technology used to create those weird veiny hearts. Perhaps if we join forces, but that's still up in the air very much so. Yeah, that's Adam, that's the autoscorer whose name I forgot. Yeah. Oh, right, and some political shenanigans were happening in the background as well. Ignite modules are alchemical, and they have control over the alchemy. Ergo, they have control over Ignite modules. And since Ignites are based on curses, yeah, the curse of Dine's life, indeed, the curse was purged. Okay, that's good. Legit though, how can you fight against the alchemist trio now though? That blue glow. That blue glow is important. I don't know how, I don't know why. Was it like Tsubasa's spirit engulfing her or something? Can they do like a fusion ha and merge together to gain more power or something? And she's playing a cat. What's he reading? I didn't read that. Yeah, everybody's still alive. Frog. Voice something. Voice Prince of the God. Gonna have to Google that. Okay, so he just dropped in, stirred some shit, and now he's peacing out. And we fight God. Do they want to, like, create an artificial god and then kill him? Or something? Or they want to awaken an old deity? I don't know. Full henshin for Kirika? Yeah, the henshins in this season are amazing. That animation could have used a couple more frames, though. Not gonna lie. I know it's 24 and all, but that's a situation where you use 48. You're kind of shorting out, though. Is that foreshadowing? Cutting gods. Is Kirika gonna be the key to, like, killing a deity? Yeah, why are they out of the hospital already? And the henshin at the worst possible moment. Ah, simulation. Okay, I was afraid for a moment there. Oh no, it's just a sim. You're not quite there yet. Maybe eventually we will overcome the limitations of linker, but not yet. Can you increase sync rates through training alone? Ah, here we have some resentment towards themselves mostly, but still. You're just gonna join them, Maria. That's a lot of pressure. Hmm. Explain. Okay, so what? Do we perform brain surgery and experiment a little on a living subject, or... Explain? Yeah, I did notice this blue glow. So everybody should get a little bit of like ergotlam functionality or something. Okay, time for some EEG. That's a nerve gear. You're going to Sword Art Online. I blanked on the name for a moment. Basically, yes. Zero hesitation on her part. Okay, that's gonna be interesting. Now, I know they will succeed, like, there's no doubt about that, but the road to success is going to be interesting. What the fuck were they supposed to do, my dude? Was he supposed to parry that attack with his bare fist or something? So, like, what? Turning Japan into a police state? Dude didn't do shit himself and is just blaming everybody for something nobody had control over. There's some wonky ass perspective in that shot. Who the fuck even makes that? Ah, understandable. Your ice cream's melting. Yeah, she's worried as well. And you should lick around everything that's melted, not just chomp on it. Yeah, exactly. We've known that since episode 1. I guess that's newsworthy. Uh, I beg to differ. I beg to differ. Yeah, I beg to differ. There was a clear correct choice, and it's the choice you made. I love the merger of like technology and brain computer interfaces. Candles. I love the contrast. Oh, the Ringo song. Is this the Alps? Looks like Swedish Alps. Maria and Serena. And Mum. Okay, so how is she supposed to figure out the missing part of the linker by just observing her memories? I thought it was gonna be like a metaphysical journey through the depths of her brain, or maybe them both going through that or something, but it seems Elf9 is just watching her memories. Linker? trying to wake up the no, not Nilfheim, Nephilim. It's a different noise they make. Bit lower on the register. If you die in game, you die in real life. Maria Ex Machina? Maria Ex Machina. Okay, so now it's more like what I thought it's gonna be. Is her Symphogear looking a little different though? I might be tripping, but it seems like it's just a little bit different. Let's get naked. Nudisto bici. She'd get along with Ryoko. Ryuko, sorry. Your subconscious is full of noise. Or whatever this is supposed to symbolize. Isn't that just gonna turn both of them into vegetables, though? It looks like a Hydra. Probably cut off one head, two more grow in its place, kinda deal. And it's gonna take them a while to figure that out, because somehow nobody ever in anime knows the myth about Hydra. Meaning? It's not a noise, it's something like that, more akin to that snake thing. Do you have an answer, Saint-Germain? Ah, sure, sunken cost fallacy. There's a lot of villains that suffer sunken cost fallacy in Symphogear, I noticed. Looks like the crep wasn't that bad. Ending themes creeping in. Indeed. Okay. We're going in some interesting directions. I have a feeling we might be going for something similar to the previous season, where in the previous season it was the Neapolitan trio who had their Symphogears destroyed and whatnot, and then the RGB arrived, Deus Ex Machina, with their Ignite modules and saved them. I have a feeling we're gonna see the inverse of that. The RGB are gonna be fighting this Hydra, failing at figuring out that if you cut off one head, two more grow out, and they won't be able to use their Ignite modules, and they're gonna be in a bad situation. And here comes the Neapolitan trio, now with brand new linker, with Ignite squared, save the day. I think that's where we're going. I'm not sure, but I think. Therefore I exist, or however that goes. Cogito ergo sum. I lost my pen somewhere. I'm not gonna write with blue. Are you mad? Oh! Hello? After credits scene? Yeah, after credits scene. I was afraid for a moment it's gonna be the next... What the fuck are you doing inside of Maria's head? Okay. Okay. Betty is back. Back again. I did not expect that, and I almost missed that, looking for my notes. I was afraid for a moment it's the next episode that's already started, but for some reason, this player never does that, but... Okay, I'm down. I'm absolutely down for more Ver. But... in any case... now it is time to go through this episode again, shall we? Yes, we shall. The answer is always the same. Yeah, they're alive, thankfully. Alka gears. They rip the Ignite module's power from our bodies. And yeah, that's all thanks to the Philosopher's Stone. That's apparently where they get their Faust robes from. Philosopher's Stone, traditionally, I guess classically, is a substance that allows metal transmutation, gives you eternal life, can heal all ailments, and stuff like that. But apparently, in this story, it can also create alka gears, and it can cleanse all impurities, not just illnesses, but also curses. And that's bad for Ignite, because it's based on the curse of Dine's life. I wonder if they're gonna go for some semantics here. Ignite, curse, semantics, and I'm gonna explain in a moment. Ignite, curse, semantics. Sword dash sword breaker. I wonder if I'm gonna know what it means when it comes time to check my theories. Essentially, what I mean is one of the autoscorers in the previous season had the Swordbreaker, and the moment Tsubasa started believing that she is no longer a sword, and what she's using are not swords, they are wings, they are flames, but not swords, suddenly Swordbreaker was useless. I wonder if it's gonna be something similar. If you don't treat the Dine's Life curse as a curse, if you treat it as a blessing, if you treat it as a strength, if you treat it as something neutral even, but not a curse, then the thing that cleanses impurities isn't going to cleanse it, because it's no longer impure. It helps, it's positive. I wonder if that's what they're gonna go for here, because if not, then their ignites can just be extinguished at any time, at any moment, indiscriminately. So that kind of dips their power scaling severely. Miraculously, they seem to have avoided any major injuries. Yeah, that's a miracle, like genuinely. Of course, a lot of pressure on Elf 9 because she has to figure out the linker. And he's reading Voice Prints of the God. Is that something, I don't know, alchemical? Or is it something Illuminati? Voice print, the voice print of God. The voice print of God, recognizing and following his voice. It's a book by Roger Med, which is interesting. It's at least seems obscure to me. I thought it's gonna be like a work of Archimedes or something like that, but no. What does Amazon, for example, have to say on the topic? The synopsis. Is the author mentioned? Panic Catch or something like that? Certainly not Roger Med. Okay. Our creator has designed into our DNA a longing that is only satisfied as we hear and heed the call of his voice. Whether you are a follower of Christ, a curious observer, or a free spirit of some sort, you no doubt have wondered at least once if God is trying to communicate with you. This book was birthed from a lifelong pursuit of homing in on God's voice. Could it be that God has a voice print that we can study to better recognize him when he speaks to us? Can we identify key features of his voice from the way he has spoken in the past? The answer is an emphatic yes. The voice print of God takes a fresh look from a layperson's perspective, using relatable personal stories packaged into short chapters with creative titles. Learn how to recognize his voice through the experiences of others in the Old and New Testament. Explore many ways he speaks to people today. So it's some like Bible study book that tells you that if you were promoted at work, then it surely is the voice of God, because Joshua the Lesser from book 17 of the Testament of Peter was also promoted, and that was because of the God, or something along those lines, probably. The author intrigues me though. Panic Catch? Panic Catch. The only thing I see, Danny Ketch. Danny Ketch wrote, is an author of Ghost Rider. No, wait. Is he? Danny Ketch. No, Danny Ketch is a superhero in Marvel. Yeah, he's the third Ghost Rider. So it's an actual real book, but written by the Ghost Rider. Interesting taste in literature, I'm gonna give him that. I thought it's gonna have some deeper meaning, deeper significance, but apparently not. Also, what the fuck is wrong with his pinky finger? It's like a stub. Yeah, it doesn't look like that in other shots, so it's just, yeah, it's just missing line art. But I couldn't help but notice it's just a stub with a nail. And yeah, he just showed up, stirred some shit, and goes about his business again. I guess our characters have to thank him because they'd all be dead if not for his interference. So thank you, Adam, I guess. And yeah, the experiment was a success. Give the divine power form. They've been experimenting with giving divine power form using that snake. So I still have to ask, what are they trying to do even? Are they trying to awaken a god? Are they trying to create a god? Are they trying to bring an incorporeal deity into a corporeal form on this earth so that they can trap him, enslave him, use them, kill them? Something along those lines? I don't know. We don't know that yet at this point. I don't think I'm missing something. I think I just don't have enough information to be able to speculate. Right. Kirika's Henshin. Igalima something. It's not Igalima true. It's Igalima. Lizeto or whatever she sings here. And yeah, standard single plane going through her. Plenty of hexagons everywhere. And her henshin, interestingly, starts with a weapon. Although, don't the others' henshins also start with a weapon? I don't think they do. Although I might be mistaken there. Starts with a scythe. Scythe itself unfolds. That's a cool effect. I love the contrast between green and red. SGIO2 Igalima. What does the I stand for? FIS? Probably not. Unfolds, unfolds backwards. Oh, she spins it around her neck. That's cool. Like a bow staff. Spins it around a little more. And only then does the henshin continue. It's a ribbon, or does it start as a hexagon? No, it's just a ribbon that jumps in, wraps around her. That's not a hexagon either. Yeah, this spike simply appears and then grows into the set of that makes up her pauldrons. Yeah, this animation could have used a couple more frames. Although the frames we have are pretty cool, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna complain too much. More ribbons. Not hexagons, again, interestingly. The shadowing in those scenes makes her look like she has black lipstick on. I wonder if that's purposeful or is it just a side effect. Her dark magician hat. More spinning. She really does like spinning her scythe in her henshin. Communicators. And she's done henshining. A little bit of pole dancing. Yeah, this could have used a couple more frames, honestly. Yeah, I think this was the one that I took a little bit of an issue with. Because some of those shots aren't even fully animated on 2s, they're like animated on 3s. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that was on 2s. 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, should have been animated on 2s to give us a little bit more smoothness. But it's just a minor gripe, so it doesn't matter ultimately. Right, Igalima is the ultimate scythe. It can cut even ghosts and gods in two. Igalima. ultimate weapon against deities. I wonder if that's gonna be something they're gonna have to use. The key to defeating whatever deity the alchemists bring upon this earth, Kirika is gonna be the key. I wonder. That's gonna be interesting because usually in anime it's the main character, and the main character's super special power that allows them to save the day. If it was a maybe not a background character, but like a secondary protagonist, let's just say, uh, to save the day with her powers, that would be interesting. Kind of like in Shuffle, the anime, not the visual novel. Shuffle was very cool to me because it was a romance where probably for the first time that I witnessed, none of the main girls actually got the heart of the protagonist, and that was cool. If it's spoilers, I guess sorry, but it's such an old series that some pixelation on the up there. What's it called? On the ceiling. On the ceiling. Yeah, I was wondering what's going on. Why are they out of the hospital already? And why is Maria going after them? Are they trying to, I don't know, do something to help Maria? Is the hospital under attack and Kirika and Shirabe are the only ones who can stop it? And Maria is now like, "Oh no, you idiots! I'm gonna join you. Don't fight for my sake. I'm gonna have to. I will fight. I will fight with you. We're a group. We're a team. We're family, right?" But no, it's just a simulation. Yeah, resentment. You're blessed with your sync rate without even knowing what it was. Don't act like you understand. There's truth to these words, but they are harsh and kinda undeserved. But I understand where she's coming from. 100%, absolutely for sure. Yeah, even when my heart is beating, I feel dead inside. They went from saving the world, from knowing that they will save the world, from actually saving the world, to just being powerless. It's gotta hurt, right? Thankfully, there's a way to decipher the last part of the linker, because Ergetlam does something special. Control of energy vectors. Uh, I guess yeah. In that one scene, Maria did like control. Wait, was it what was going on? I think so. In the previous season, Maria did take control of the energy of the like not superb songs, but the X drive. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So forgive me that, but I have a vague recollection of that actually being the case. Uh, it would line it up in battle, so that's what it was. It's Ergetlam kind of forcefully increasing the sync rate. Maybe not forcefully, but redirecting the energy into where it should go to eliminate sync rate issues, essentially. Creating some artificial sync rate, so to speak. Mm. And yeah, we have some nerve gear. By the way, did you hear of that dude who figured out 50% of the nerve gear working? He figured out the part where your VR headset can kill you when you die in the game. He hasn't figured out the way of actually getting in the game, but he's got the killing figured out. So I guess you can be 50% SAO character if you wanted. Um, by converting one's consciousness into electric signals and transmitting it into the brain of another. Yeah, that's some pseudoscientific mumbo jumbo. Doesn't matter. What matters is the effect of being able to explore Maria's mind and to figure out what makes Ergatlam and her sync rate work. Although, honestly, I would expect that what they're gonna do is something different. Like they're gonna run some tests and experiments on Ergetlam to maybe implement that technology of boosted sync rate in all the other relics. But no, they're just gonna. Although, is it even gonna work? Because it's not like the secret to increased sync rate is Maria herself. It's Ergetlam. So what does getting into Maria's mind accomplish exactly? Unless they're gonna have her henshin while she's unconscious? That's not gonna work though. I might be missing something, but. Hmm. Allows direct observation. Uh, yeah, it lets you peek into another's brain. Brains like a labyrinth. I love the juxtaposition of all those screens and lights and the new sci-fi things, and then there's some sensors, some mortar and pestle. I think it's like some garlic, I don't know, parsley, lavender, an old chest, a wooden vial stand. I love it. I always love it everywhere. The juxtaposition of like traditional magic and shit with the modern or even sci-fi technology. Yeah, there's an amazing book by a Polish author. It's called Królikarnia in Polish. I don't know how it translates to English. Does it even have an English release? But essentially, the idea is that Poland got connected to like various sci-fi worlds, and you have a situation where car manufacturers are just importing flying carpets from those fantastical worlds and are slapping the chassis on top, and you have levitating cars based on flying carpets. People are trading genies on the black market and stuff like that. It's great, and I always love the merger of technology with magic, with the like those old medieval kind of things. Yeah, you can turn into a veggie, so that's no bueno. But she agrees anyway because it's Maria, because her resolve is unshaken and unshakable. I'm not getting what this guy's issue is. Like, I understand his type. I understand his archetype. He's the high and mighty, all-powerful ruler of everything. Whatever he says happens. If he tells you that you should stop the storm right now because it's gonna destroy his flowers, then you better fucking stop the storm. And if the storm doesn't stop, well, that's clearly your fault. That's the type of a character he seems to me, because the responsibility is ours. Responsibility for what? For unprecedented and unforeseen events? What were they supposed to do about Adam? Like, literally, what? I'm never a fan of those characters, or rather, they tend to be written well sometimes, but so it's not like I don't like his character in the context of the story. I just don't like him as a person, the same way you usually don't like the antagonists and the villains in stories, despite them being actually written well and you enjoying their character but not liking them as people. I don't like him as a person. And yeah, of course, he tries to belittle Tsubasa because, of course, he's the kind of person. I'll connect to a model of your brain in virtual space, leading to a state of shared consciousness. And again, the screens, the chairs look off. Like Elf9 is looking like she's sitting on nothing. And the chairs, the gradient on them looks like they're just almost completely flush. They don't have that part to sit on. It looks weird. It looks weird. It really does. You'll be entering me through here. Phrasing. Everybody worries, of course. Except, I guess, Hibiki. Hibiki has someone to fix all her worries, to wipe the ice cream off her face if she needs to. Uh, this dude getting a prosthetic is apparently newsworthy. Sometimes there was never a right choice to begin with. That's something I will never agree with. They can try to justify it however times they want. They can try to have characters repeat it however many times they want. Uh, but I will never agree that there wasn't a correct choice in that situation, and I will never agree that Chris made the bad choice. There was one correct choice, and Chris made that choice. Period. But for some reason, it is still uh, a point of contention between those two, between Chris and that stupid girl. There's a lot of nudity in this season, even more so than in the others. Like we did have a couple of seasons that had scenes of dehensioning that completely strips them, but this is like more coincidental, accidental nudity. Not quite, but uh, having your armor damaged and the armor shatters makes sense, right? But Adam just burning off his clothes, Elf Knight entering here in full nude. Those are not consequences of like something being destroyed. Although I guess in Adam's case his clothes did burn. I can't quite put it into words. I don't know. I'm just gonna shut up and continue. Maria and Serena in Swedish Alps, probably. Maria being treated badly by Mamme, because of course. Seems like Mamme only came around after Serena's death, and even then not fully. Is that an underwater base? No, I think it's just nighttime. Training, drinking linker, trying to awaken the Nephilim, Ryoko in the background. Yeah, up until this point, I really wasn't sure what's the goal of entering her mind. Like, how's she about to find? How does she plan to find the clues to finishing Linker by watching Maria's memories? It's just the exposition for the viewer, for the most part. But thankfully, Maria Ex Machina, I'm still not sure if her gear looks a little different from than usual. Hard to tell, honestly. And yeah, Maria's song, How Many Tears Have You Shed? Those numbers mean nothing. Cast off your pride, your gaudy adornments. Let's get naked. That's a very Kill la Kill song. Cast away your pride, cast away your clothes, be confident in your nudity. Don't reject it, embrace it. That's going to be your strength. It's very interesting how close to like the theme of Kill la Kill the song is. I don't know. I believe this season was made after Kill la Kill, so maybe the writers took a little bit of inspiration. I'm not sure. But talking about casting of your pride, casting of your gaudy adornments, and getting naked, that's like Kill la Kill. Alkano detected in the Tokyo Bay. Yeah, it's Hydra. You cut off one head, two more grow back in its place. I wonder if they're actually gonna know about it. characters that face Hydra-like characters are Hydra-like enemies are usually completely and utterly unaware of the Hydra myth, and they're always very surprised that a new head grows back into place, and they never know how to deal with that. They just keep cutting off the heads. I wonder if it's gonna be any different, or are we going for like this, I don't know, convenient obliviousness? Because if people weren't oblivious to how a Hydra worked, then every Hydra type enemy would just be an easy clap. I wonder. I guess it's kind of a staple of many pieces of media by now that media is unaware of other media. Like characters in horror movies are never aware of horror movies, right? They're never aware of splitting up, perhaps not being a great idea. Checking out that noise, perhaps not being a great idea either. When someone tries to sell you a haunted house, you probably should fucking believe it's haunted the first time you see a creepy crawling hand around, instead of trying to investigate and getting yourself killed, right? So, I don't know. It's just something I noticed, I guess. It's not a pro, it's not a con. The Hydra stuff. Bunch of nice toys besides Tiki hidden below that opera house. Uh, so I guess the Hydra stuff, that other snake that they revived initially. I wonder if this Hydra also has similar powers to that snake, where it can't be damaged unless you damage it in all parallel dimensions at once or something. With the power of God in our hands, we of the Bavarian Illuminati will right the laws of this world. Uh, I'm gonna note it down actually. Making a deity corporeal to enslave it and use its powers. I wonder if that's the goal of our dear Bavarian Illuminati. Yeah, bringing like the power of gods, maybe turning Adam into a god, or enslaving a god. I see those two possibilities. If it's for the good of others, then can't we work together? And the classic, so classic for Symphogear, sunken cost. I can't afford to reconsider the steps already taken, even if I have to struggle alone. Because, of course, because you're stubborn, because you went through so much, and uh, I don't like when, or rather, the first time we see sunken cost fallacy, cool. Second time we see it, whatever, I guess people are prone to that. Third time we have a villain whose entire drive is sunken cost fallacy. I hope they do something interesting with that. I hope she actually is like, no, I guess, sure, whatever, all those years were wasted, but now I see a better opportunity. I can join hands with S.O.N.G and we can together actually fix the world. Fuck all my research, fuck all of that. My goal preserving the research, or is my goal saving the world? My goal is saving the world, so fuck the sunken cost fallacy. We're doing it your way. I wonder if they're gonna do something interesting like that. I love their dynamic though. You're not alone. We can't leave you by yourself. Uh, all this time, the antagonists, villains we had in Symphogear were either solitary, either had bad relationships with each other, and that's basically those two types of of antagonists we had in Symphogear so far. This does seem refreshing that they make a team. Besides Adam, who does very much strike me as someone that everybody else will join forces against, But those three, uh, yeah, it's cool that it's not a solitary villain who's like alone against the world, and it's not a bunch of antagonists who are fighting with each other because they are evil, so they have to fight. No, they fully and truly believe in what they're doing. They're all rallied against a common cause, and they are a team. They've been together for however many millennia. Well, I guess maybe not millennia, but centuries at least. So it's cool. It's cool to see that. Is what I'm trying to say. Does she smile here briefly? She does. She does indeed. And of course, we have to go and fight. You don't have to win, just don't lose. That's a great sentiment, honestly. You don't have to win, just don't lose. A loss reduction doctrine, as Tanya the Gorachav would put it. There's a song in my heart. And off she. Oh, that's a great in between. That's getting screen capped. That's getting screen capped for sure. And off she goes to defeat the Hydra. And then we have something that hasn't happened yet in this season, an after credits scene. Maria and Elfline floating around in her subconscious. And here comes Verhakase. Somehow living inside of Maria's head. Rent free. And looking as such like such a savior, right? Descending on them with a gentle face. And yet I live on in your heart like so. That's what we dead people do, and then she turns into the Ver we all know and love. So I guess they can just get the formula for Linker straight from the man. That's cool. That's cool. I honestly did not expect we were gonna see more of him, but I'm glad that we are going to see more of him, even if it's just briefly in Maria's subconscious. Okay. Okay, that was episode 5 of Symphogear AXZ, and it feels like another setup episode, right? We got a payoff, quote unquote, payoff being all of our main characters getting stripped of their powers to a bigger or lesser degree, but still. And in today's episode, we established that there is a way for at least some of them to regain their powers to at least a certain level. We still have no way to counteract the Philosopher's Stone so that it doesn't extinguish the Ignite modules, so to speak. But I feel we might be working on that soon-ish, at least after LF9 is done with figuring out the linker, so that the Neapolitan trio can help the primary colors trio to fight against. Yeah, it's not RGB, it's primary colors. I've been calling them RGB this whole time, but no, Hibiki isn't green, Hibiki is yellow, primary colors. Sorry for that. But yeah, Team RGB was in Tokyo 24Ku, so that's where I might have gotten it from. Regardless, yeah, we are fighting on bringing at least 3 more combatants to the baseline level without the Ignite modules yet, but still, 6 members at lower power output are better than 3 members at lower power output. That's cool. And I guess unless they are facing against the alchemical trio themselves, they can use their ignite still. It's not like that power was stripped from them permanently. It was more like jammed temporarily or something along those lines. Although, I don't know, we haven't gotten a confirmation either way yet. Another bit of setup, of course, besides the fight with the Hydra, and that Team Neapolitan is going to help them, probably. We have the setup for political intrigue, because, of course, we need some political intrigue in the background. We get a setup for Adam fiddling around with some godhood and divinity, divine powers, and things like that. We have a little bit of setup for our alchemical trio, who are also continuing the experiments with godhood. We have, of course, the setup from Ver. I wonder what other things will he reveal. Yeah, it's probably an episode that's going to start like a whole second half of this season, or rather, episode 6 is going to be the episode that starts it off. That starts it all off. Today's episode, episode 5, was a preparation for that, so to speak, kind of a pre-game thing. And of course, we got an explanation. Maria glowing randomly and being able to push that little bit further, even without using linker. I thought it might just be her fighting spirit or something along those lines, but apparently it is just Ergetlam being a really good relic, because you can use it even if you have low sync rates, and Ergetlam is gonna make up for that. Very useful relic to have, for sure. And what else? Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think I have anything more to say on the topic of today's episode, but maybe you do. And if you do have something more to say, do that in the comments down below. What did you think of this episode, my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? No spoilers, please. If you do want to talk spoilers, Discord is here, also in the description. Join it. There's a Symphogear channel where you can post spoilers to your heart's content, as long as you mark them as such. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to that channel so you can notify the future releases of not only Symphogear but also Gundam Witch from Mercury, the Sword Isekai Arknights, Sword Isekai meaning Tensei Shitara Tenpo Kei or something like that. Arknights Prelude to Dawn as a semi-veteran player. The management of a novice alchemist, and I'm also gonna be watching the Madoka Magica movie after the 15th, so after tomorrow, sometime in the coming week, whenever I have a bit of free time, because that's when my Elgato arrives, and I'm gonna be filming that movie reaction with that. I also stream sometimes, including Arknights, including Alchemy Stars, so click the bell to be notified when I go live. Support the channel if you want monetarily. Patreon Throne, links in the description. On Patreon for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonals like Symphogear, like Madoka, like other non-seasonals that will be coming in the future. For just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. And on Throne you can pitch in directly towards my purchase of better lighting, better camera, although I just got a better camera, so perhaps not. And if you don't want to spend any money but still want to help the channel, sharing my content, spreading the word, it does help a lot. So, with all of that out of the way, with all of that shilling done, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And there we go. That's the credits, that's the people who support me on Patreon monetarily, and you can be one of them, if only you so wish.